There we go. You should be good, Patty.
Okay, so welcome everyone. This is the Quashnet School Parent Guardian Zoom meeting, and we did hold one of these meetings earlier. I guess it was the summer. That was more sort of focused on the reopening and trying to help parents have a clearer understanding of what to expect. And now that we are well underway, knock on wood, day by day, we wanted to get back together and give parents and guardians an opportunity to share experiences or to ask questions that we could help you with as we sort of journey this together. I do want to thank parents up front for really being flexible and respectful and grateful. We have really felt like we are a connected community as we are navigating this school year. And you know, from the point of view, from my perspective as well, and I got to introduce everybody in a second, but from my perspective, things are going well because we are collaborating and we have some shared goals. Just to introduce people, and you can raise your hand. So I'm Patty DeBoer, Superintendent Mashpee. Dr. Hanscom is our Assistant Superintendent. Mary Kate O'Brien is the principal of the Quashnet School. Stephen Kopolka is the Assistant Principal at the Quashnet School. You have Jamie Curley, she's our Director of Special Education. Nurse Terry is the Quashnet School nurse. Susie Brooks is our Director of Instructional Technology. Stacy Shackle is our District Nurse Coordinator for this school year. Consuelo Carroll is our Outreach Coordinator for the district. And I presume that everyone else here is here in the capacity of a parent, although some are also employees, I think, of the district as well. So we have several days under our belts now of navigating this year's learning, and we have, you know, as you know, third graders are fully in person unless a family chose to have their child remain 100% remote. And then in grades 4 through 6, they are following a hybrid model. So your children are either part of the Mashpee cohort, which comes to school 1 week and remote learns the next week, or the Falcon cohort. And then again, in those grade levels, students could choose to be 100% remote. And I do want to give a shout out to our staff and our teachers as we sort of start this meeting, because they are really the frontline soldiers, and they have gone above and beyond, sort of working outside of their comfort zone. For many of our teachers, this was not anything that any school prepared them to teach. They're used to having all their students in front of them, and every teacher, pretty much every teacher at this point, has remote learners as well as in-person learners. There's a couple of third grade classrooms that have had all learners shift to in-person. But for the most part, when I go in classrooms, they are navigating between students sitting in front of them and students on the screen. And that is definitely something new for our teachers. And in addition to them sort of carrying the burden of their own lives and whatever's going on in those lives, and then being worried also about making sure everybody is kept safe and well, they have this added sort of discomfort zone of teaching in a different way. So I just want to recognize them and kudos to them for all that they are doing, because this would not be working as well as it does without them as well. And also thanking the leadership team at the Quashnet School for all that they do in terms of, there's a lot of behind the scenes layers to this school year puzzle that we're putting together a piece at a time, and it's going to be a beautiful picture when it's done. So anyway, so the way this is working, and Hope can expand, is she monitors the chat room, or the chat. Is it a chat room? I guess.
That's sound old, like I'm on AOL.
Yeah,
I like with dial-up modem.
Something I'm disconnected from. But anyway, if you have questions as parents, you're going to type in the chat box, and it goes only to Hope, and then she will read all the questions out, and then various people will attempt to answer them or contribute to an answer. And anytime if there's something that comes up that triggers another question, just type it in. And also, just as a caution, if you have really specific questions about your own child's experience, we would encourage you to either reach out to us individually or to your child's teacher, not so much as in a public forum, unless you word it in such a way and remain totally anonymous in some respect. But we really don't want to have to talk about specific children here. But we are here to help you in any way that you need.
Yeah, I'll just add that if a question comes into the chat that looks specific to a particular child, and that happens all the time, I'll write to you directly and just say I'm going to pass that along to whomever, you know, is appropriate. So I will get back to you on it in the chat as well. While we're waiting for folks to start typing in their questions, Mrs. O'Brien, do you want to just give a quick overview of sort of, and Mr. Kapulka, sorry, how the year has started, things you've noticed, and then we can go from there?
Sure. I would just like to take a moment and thank all of our families for all of their support. Honestly, we working as this partnership makes all the difference in the world. All of the kids, I going in and out of classrooms, watching them getting off of buses or out of cars in the morning. Everyone is masked. They're following the directions. They're hand sanitizing as they come in the building. As they go into classrooms, the cooperation has been outstanding. Even at recess, when I see the kids out at play, it's wonderful to hear the laughter, to see the running, to see the conversations that kids are having, and they're not skipping a beat with even wearing masks. So it really, I think, has been just a win-win all around, and it is wonderful to have the kids back in the building. I do wish we could have all of our students here, but to have our third graders and see our Mashpee students one week and our Falcons the next, it is a good thing. It's great to see them. And even going through classrooms and seeing our students participate remotely, it's new for everyone, but oh my gosh, it is amazing to see that interaction between the students at home and the students in the classroom. And the teachers are working really hard. And I know that the technology has been a little bit sketchy here and there, but with the wonderful team we have here at school really jumping in at a moment's notice to try to troubleshoot and problem solve, and everyone working together has made a huge difference. So we had picture day today, our first round, and even that felt like it's a normal year. It's great. Kids are learning, and that is our objective. And I can say they're pretty happy when they're here. Mr. Kapulka, I don't know if you have something you'd like to add to that.
Well, you really summed up a lot of what's been great, but I think I'm just really amazed at the hard work that the kids are putting in, and the teachers as well. It's just really refreshing walking around the building and seeing everything that's happening in the classrooms. And it's just really so great to have the kids back here. And it's nice to see all of our hard work as a team in place and getting everything done. And it's really some neat things. There's some really positives that have come. Nice to see like you said, the interaction between the kids at home and remote learners and the kids in the classroom, as well as the small number of kids in some of the classrooms that are getting a really amazing attention during their in-person week. And you can see that the kids are relating that to when they're remote and how they can interact with each other and so forth. It's just been really a great experience all around. So in a crazy time that's different for everybody, there's it's nice to think there's some really good positives too.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Great. I will say I have a 6th grader who's in the Falcon Week, and when he came home today, I was like, please tell me you took your mask off for your pictures. So for those of you who were wondering, like I was, they did take their mask off for the pictures. I was told. So.
Yes, they did. And it's so funny because our photographer, she likes to fix the kids' hair, and she was standing back and telling them, you might want to just do this. So they had a lot of support, but they were good. They were reminded, take your mask off now. And but even the social distancing, the kids they understand the need. They're learning what 6 feet looks like, because I think it's hard to visualize that always, unless they're on a dot on the floor. But when they're walking through the halls, it does take a little reminding, just to have them be a little bit aware of that. But it's learning, so it's good.
All right. So I'm going to get to the chat. And again, please add your questions, because it makes we really do want to answer the questions that you have. So first question, how is recess going? My 3rd grader has said that there are no other 3rd grade classes besides his, just older grades, 4th and 5th, I believe. And they're playing on the playground together. It's like 20 people max. Just making sure this is being traced in case of a COVID outbreak. For some reason, I thought just 3rd graders or just their class would be playing together to keep the cohorts distanced.
So we do have to group the classes, and the way they were grouped, it's the same group that's going to the same special. So for example, there are 5 classes that would be participating in art, and they travel to the art room and they would be using the tools there. That same group of 5 classes have the same recess and same lunch. And that way we're able to keep that group of students. It's like a mini cohort within the cohort. They will be together in that same special for 34 days before they rotate to another special. I have to say, I was a little worried about that mixed group at recess, and our recess monitors have been monitoring it closely. But there've been a lot of benefits, things we didn't anticipate, and it's been great to see the difference in our older students really supporting our younger students. You have 3rd and 4th graders that want to share the same bench at lunch. They know each other from neighborhoods or their other classrooms. So it has been really nice to see that mixed age group and how they really support each other. It's a nice feeling to see that, and really the responsibility I see in all of the kids. But that's how that cohort, that mini cohort, that group is staying together. And we've broken up that recess area in 2 different groups, an area B and an area A. So it's the small playground and the tennis courts, and then the big playground in the field. And the kids are doing quite well. We will rotate those groups and where they go after our little mini quinmesters, we call them. There'll be 5 different quinmesters when the students change their special rotation. And that's when they'll change recess and lunchroom seating as well. And that first switch is coming on November 5th.
But earlier, this is one of the layers within the layers that Mrs. DeBoer was talking about earlier. It's cohorts within cohorts for that, just that reason of the contact tracing, so that we know where every child is at every part of the day. And it's pretty amazing, the logistical work that Mrs. O'Brien and Mr. Gopilka and their team put into this.
And as far as the recess activities, that there's a natural kind of separation that occurs, like the kids that want to be on the playground, whether in 6th grade or in 3rd grade, are kids that want to be on the playground. And then in the soccer game, we do try to do a 3rd grade and 4th grade soccer game and a 5th and 6th grade soccer game when there's enough participants, trying to separate the 2, because there's an age difference and a size difference, but we have had very little incidences there, and oftentimes the game is just is multi-age. And it's been really, really nice, I think, to see the kids working with each other, being with each other, and in recess and in lunch especially. Lunches have been fabulous too, and kids have been well behaved, and they're enjoying being around each other and seeing each other, and seeing different grade levels too.
Right.
And the person go ahead.
I wanted to add to our food services director, Gus Stickley. The bag lunches are really quite outstanding. Today's was, at least at the high school, was a cheeseburger with these like tater rounds or potato rounds. And yes, it comes in a brown bag, but it's not so much like what you might imagine to be in a brown bag. And the one thing I've noticed at all the schools in terms of the lunchroom setting is sort of an equity piece, because everybody is sort of spaced. And they are allowed to talk, and they chose their spots, and they have kids around them that they talk to, but there's no sort of like kids sitting at tables and another child might feel sort of like, do I fit in that table or not? So it's kind of an interesting, it's a little bit interesting observation about the change to the lunches. And there's, I'm sure there's cons to it as well, but we have seen some benefits too.
Absolutely.
And we did just hear that the lunches will be, there'll be no cost for lunches for the remainder of this school year. So what we thought was going to end December 31st, it has been extended, which is also another great thing for our families. The person who wrote that makes me feel much better about that. Thank you all so much. So I wanted to give you that feedback. Okay. So if this might be Nurse Terry or Nurse Stacy, if someone is sent home ill and required to be home for a day or two, if they are a full in-person learner, can they log in so they are not considered absent?
Mary Kate could probably respond to that.
Yeah, as long as they're participating remotely, they would be counted as a remote present. So currently we have to record our students 3 different ways, actually 4, but one would be present in person, absent if they were supposed to be in person. But then we're also recording attendance in terms of remote present or remote absent. And in order to be considered remote present, they have to participate in at least half or more of their school day. So if a student is scheduled to be in school, but they are not able to come because they have a sore throat or they're feeling some symptom, but they do log on to the Zoom, which is all accessible to the students every day, then they would be considered as remote present. Although I did put in the blog a couple weeks ago that if a student is expected to be in school and they're going to participate remotely, if we could have a call, it would be like an absent call-in that my child's going to be home, but they'll be participating remotely. And that way we will just know that, okay, there's a reason they're not in school, and you won't be getting automated calls that way.
If I could just also add to that, so that question said if my child's not feeling well today or a day or two, again, all calls and reasons called in, and all children need to be connected with Nurse Terry to just review the symptoms and our charts and the protocols that we're following. So if your child can't do pass the checklist in the morning for symptoms, making sure that you get in touch with Nurse Terry to go over that, and she'll direct you from there.
Because that sort of partnership with our families and doing that assessment of your child every morning, and our staff has to do it as well, is really important to sort of keep our school environments as healthy as we can. And students can still continue to learn at home, so there's not that same kind of pressure as in past years to make sure that they were there, they can engage with their learning. And if that's practiced regularly and followed by all of our families, we should be able to do a pretty good job of keeping ourselves in a healthy situation.
Absolutely.
Okay, our next question. I understand that the situation is fluid and ever changing, but I'm wondering if there is any plan in the works to gradually bring 4th graders, our youngest hybrid learners, back 100% in person.
Well, really, our challenge is transportation at this point. We still have to follow the guidelines from the DESE and regarding the number of students that can be on the bus and the distancing. So that is really our biggest obstacle. And unless we can ensure that all 4th graders or 5th or 6th graders could actually be here, we really can't change that model.
Also, I don't believe we have the space to
what I was going to
fit
say,
4th graders.
Right. When we originally were trying to have our 4th, 5th, and 6th as in person, we had sort of a plan in place where we had more classrooms and more teachers. Right. But because the transportation prevented that from happening, the model changed. And really at this point where there's only, I believe, is it 12 or 14 desks in your rooms, Mary Kate?
Right. Yes.
So until that whole requirement of 6-foot distancing goes away, we can't switch from the hybrid model for grades 4 to 12, right, regardless of transportation, because we don't have personnel or space in some cases.
Not that transportation isn't a big issue, because it is. I'm just going to keep putting that out there, but it's also space. Sorry, Mary Kate, keep going.
No, it absolutely is, because before we switched to the model we have currently, we were looking at adding numerous 4th grade classes, and now we only have 5. So there is no way we could fit the number in that we would need to.
But it's what keeps us up. So I don't want anyone out there to think that we don't wish we could do that. We absolutely do. But I keep saying it's COVID. This is a compliment. This isn't a question, but I wanted to say I was really impressed at how quickly Susie helped us when we had a Chromebook that stopped working. The problem was resolved within 24 hours with little interruption to my son's work. And I think that's a great segue to just make sure everyone knows if you are having a tech problem with your Chromebook or so forth. Susie Brooks, who's on this call, can you just give a little bit of a blurb about what to do?
Sure, absolutely. So folks can get in touch with me either through our hybrid learning site. You can go to either school. All three of them have a technology link. So if you scroll further down past the grade levels or subject areas, you'll see a technology link, and then you'll see my emoji. There's a couple of ways you can interact with me, but I'm having plenty of families reach out to me by email. That's the best way to get me. I'm not trying to keep you off of the phone in my office, but I'm very rarely in there because I'm in all three buildings. So email is the quickest and easiest, and it's the easiest way for me to keep track of what's going on and how I can be sure to help you. We're getting into what I'm affectionately calling our ugly inventory of Chromebooks. A lot of schools are waiting for deliveries that they put in back in the spring. Mr. Maroney ordered plenty of Chromebooks back in March, April, and May, and they have not been heard of since. So we are trying to basically build Chromebooks from Chromebooks and get them fixed and back out into circulation as quickly as we can. We know some of them are very ugly, and we're hoping that they'll get us through until they arrive. So even though I know you have devices that are just limping along, let me know what your issues are, and maybe I can upgrade it just a little so that it will work. I think that was everything that you asked.
Yes, it
I
was.
think
Thank
I
you.
concur with the speaker or the question maker, because we're all amazed at how fast Susie resolves our issues. She's probably sick of seeing my emails come through, but we appreciate it.
Yeah, our tech department is probably the reason we're able to be back in as much as we are. Just, they're incredible, and we're so lucky.
And just so families know, it's a small tech department, small but mighty, and they work a tremendous amount of up above and beyond. And we're very grateful because, and one thing I wanted to say, you know, and I think Mary Kate touched on it, we have had some glitches. We have a lot of online programs that rely on rosters of students being uploaded and things like that. And teachers build their plans around and rely on these tools, and then things didn't happen exactly the way it was supposed to. And they're, you know, we're perfectionists, and they take it personally, and then it just becomes a lot on them because they want to please and they want everything to be perfect for their students and the families. And when it doesn't, you know, they take it personally. And I just want everybody to sort of go with the flow a little bit. I try to talk teachers down, but they just can't help being who they are, and they just want it to be right. But I want everyone to know that sometimes when we have glitches, it's just nobody's fault. It just sort of happens, but we do work hard to make sure they go away quickly.
It's true.
Okay, so this next question is sort of about the struggles with remote learning. So it's really asking, are there resources out there to help support families who are with the hybrid weeks? There's lots of stress in the family, lots of stress due to the learning, and the kids aren't as engaged. Kids who used to like school aren't really liking it right now. Are there things that we can offer as resources to support families who are having this struggle?
Well, I think the most important thing is to communicate with your child's teacher. I think that's really necessary. I met with a family today, and it was really helpful to go through the students' teacher's playlist and landing page, and the parent didn't really understand that. And once they understood all the steps to that and seeing the child's schedule, it really made a big difference. So if you feel like you're not able to understand really what your child's doing, it might be a great time to reach out to your child's teacher and just ask for some support. But I am also available to help, as well as Mr. Kopolka. I know he'd be more than willing as well. So please just reach out to us, and we can help you navigate through some of those, the playlists. Certainly, that is one way we could try to support you.
And even if it's not you, if it's someone who's watching your children because you're at work, we'll work with anybody. We'll go through it with anybody. I didn't know, Mrs. O'Brien and Mrs. DeBoer, you would know better than I. Is the rec department program still running?
Yes, and that, as I understood, it was growing slowly week by week. There were more students being added. So yes, there are students who learn on their remote weeks from the Boys and Girls Club.
So can you just explain what that is in case families didn't know? It's on their hybrid week, the week that they're learning remotely, is that right?
Right. So when the student is not in person, so that week that they are out of school learning, there is the that resource where you can sign up through the rec department, and your child would be dropped off at the Boys and Girls Club for the length of the school day. We supported the club to make sure they had the right technology, or in terms of hotspots and Wi-Fi and all of that. But it's a supervised environment, and there are people there as well to help students navigate through that online learning that they are expected to do. So that is one resource that you might find helpful. It is, I mean, we recognize that for students when they are at home learning, it is, particularly at this age, they need a little bit more guidance, and it definitely involves some adult support. And it's not at all like the spring experience. And I talked about this before, where, you know, as we navigated from March 13th on and not knowing what was happening, and the expectations from the State Department of Education were a little bit more relaxed, because it was just sort of focused on social emotional wellness, a little less on the academics. But that expectation, although we still need to focus on social emotional wellness, the academic piece has kicked in. And so the expectations are much stronger, and we need to do whatever we can to not have a family become divided over remote learning, because, you know, long term, the cohesiveness of your family is more important, and we will help a student make the gains that they need to. We don't want you to sort of ruin a relationship with your child over remote learning. But we do have a lot of resources. We have counselors, we have school psychologists, we have, there's some online tools, organizational tools. If we needed, you know, if it was tech support, and I know that Susie and Sean do a great job, but we have options where if you needed somebody to sort of give you a little extra guidance, whether it's through a Zoom where you show us the setup at your house for your child, we could give you some advice for executive functioning. There is a lot. I mean, we really have a wealth of resources for families. You do just need to reach out, and again, starting with your child's teacher. It may not be the child's teacher who helps your child or your situation, but they will connect anyone that needs to pop into that situation. So don't, you know, go it alone and stress about this. We are here to really make things better for you.
And if you are looking for that program at the Boys and Girls Club, you can go on Mashpee Rec and register online. But we also do have hard copies of registrations here right in the main office at Quashnet. So just give us a call and we'll get it out to you if that's something that you would be interested in.
Okay. Next question. Do we need to, oh, this is a question I have too, actually. Do we need to submit paperwork if our child had the flu shot?
Terry?
I was going to say, I don't unmute quickly enough, sorry. So yeah, I'll answer that. And Stacy, you can piggyback onto anything about flu shot. So just in general, the flu shot is required by DESE for all children who are involved in childcare, right through K through 12, and also colleges are requiring it. And it does need to be done before December 31st, and we do need documentation from a physician or your healthcare provider with the date and that the flu vaccine was given. The expectation, of course, is that it's done by December 31st, unless there is some sort of medical or religious exemption, which we would need to have that information on file as well. It also, and Stacy, correct me if I'm wrong, is required for not only in-person learners, but even 100% remote learners are required to have this done as well. I'm not sure about homeschool, but
No, homeschool is not required,
Right, right.
but remote, 100% remote is.
Right, 100% remote and in person by December 31st. And I don't know if there's anything else for that, Stacy. Anything else you can think of? Okay, and certainly if you have any questions at all, contact either myself or Nurse Stacy, and we'll be happy to answer those questions for you.
I have another question about that sort of, and then another one sort of came in, so stay tuned. Mine is, are there places other than your pediatrician that you know of that where you can take your child to get it? And then another question, it says, out of curiosity, are you able to log into MIS for vaccines? I don't even know what that means, Stacy, so I'm hoping you do.
Sure. So yes, there are various flu clinics that are popping up. So as long as your child meets the age requirements, you can attend those. They will give you record or upload it into the Massachusetts Immunization Information System.
That's what it is.
And that'll put it in there, and it'll go one to your child's primary care, and they should be able to print out an updated immunization, and we can also access it through that, and we automatically run that. So if you do go through a clinic and they tell you they submitted it to MIS, just let Terry know so that she can just run the link through MIS.
I learned something new today. Thank you.
Yes, me too.
Okay, then next question. Have we considered a hybrid model where Mashpee kids go Monday, Tuesday, and Falcons go Thursday, Friday, so there isn't such a huge gap between the times when they're in school versus remote? Just curious as to how we landed on the full weeks.
So I'll give a little 2 cents to that. We did look at various models, but we felt for the consistency for students, having that 1 week in and 1 week out was easier for their planning. We do recognize that, we're not physically seeing some of those students for what would be a 9-day period with the 2 weekends on the end. But we feel with the zooming in, as long as the teachers are making that visual connection with their remote learners every day, that's beneficial. We also did it as a way that if we had to exclude a student for a certain amount of time related to symptoms or being diagnosed as positive, it sort of felt like it addressed a bigger block of time that way. And I think a little bit less we don't have some districts that did the Monday, Tuesday, and then the Thursday, Friday also have Wednesday as sort of 100% remote for the district. With the understanding, I think they do deep cleaning, but the DPW has been fabulous partners with us, and they have done a lot for us, but they do deep cleaning every single night. And also throughout the day, they do lots of extra cleaning and disinfecting. So we didn't feel the need to have that break in the week. So for me, it was a consistency, a little bit less scattered feeling for students.
And I would add to the transitions of being in for a few days, out for a few days. That's a lot more transitions than we would want for kids. When they're in for the full week and home for the full week, they're not having as many breaks in the experience. And that seemed to us to be a better fit. But I think primarily it was that 9-day period where we would have kids separated if we needed them, naturally separated without having to interrupt learning. And I will say, just from my experience of families who are in other districts, I think I don't think any model is great. So I will say that, but I think that the week on, week off has people who are in those other models have been like, oh, I wish we were doing it 1 week on, 1 week home. So I don't know that one way is better than the other, but this feels like and felt like the best way to move forward for us. Oh, okay. And thank you for explaining, they said, so that's good. I do not see any other questions in the chat, so I don't know if there are things that other folks wanted to make sure we highlighted.
I just one thing I reminded in the Coombs one is that November 3rd, Tuesday, is election day, and it is a voting day at Quashnet, but it is a non-work, non-school day in Mashpee. And so that means that for your children, it's a day off, but they're not expected to Zoom in or do any of that work. When we originally made the calendar and knowing that voting was at Quashnet, we added a day at the end in June. So just to be clear on, it's not a PD day for staff, and it really is, we'll call it a mental health day for everyone.
For Mrs. O'Brien.
Mrs. O'Brien in particular. Yeah. Yes. Yes.
And I would just point out too that we have 2 conference days coming up, October 22nd and October 27th. And the link to sign up for those parent conferences have been in the Quashnet blog for the last 2 weeks. If you haven't registered for a conference yet with your child's teacher, please take the time to do that. It's really, really easy. If you have any difficulty or you can't connect for whatever reason, just call the Quashnet office and we will book that conference for you. And our number is 508-539-1550.
And those are through Zoom, those conferences.
Through Zoom, all virtual.
We did get one other question, and I love this question. Mrs. DeBoer, speaking of days off, what will snow days look like this year? If we get a snow day, would kids be required to Zoom in, or would it be an actual snow day?
So I did talk about this in the Coombs one too. Sadly, I don't feel we will have any more snow days, which is really an important childhood experience. We will only have a snow day, an official snow day, if we lose power, and obviously we are not able to connect to internet or devices. But the way we have it structured and the skill set of our teachers is we can turn on a dime if we have to and go 100% remote. So if we were to have a snow day, the plan would be that it would be a 100% remote day. But then if glitches happen with power, that could then become a snow day. I personally think everyone through childhood needs to have had a snow day at some point. But it was pretty mild last year. We didn't have any then either.
Yeah, we just had a pandemic, so it's cool.
But that was after the winter season.
We got another question about conferences. Are we signing up for conferences with only the homeroom teacher, as in the past, or with both teachers?
It would be with the homeroom teacher. But the homeroom teacher and any co-teachers collaborate and discuss any needs that they would want to share. So just sign up with the homeroom teacher, but you could always reach out to that other teacher at another time.
And another thing I wanted to say to families, and you may not feel comfortable in this setting, but we're looking for any challenges that your child has shared with you. So when you pick them up at the end of the day or they get off the bus, if they're sharing, a challenge that they had, or they're saying everything's okay, we know that things are not perfect, and we want to hear about the areas that we need to do better in. And so if you have sort of any generalized thoughts of experiences that you could share as a way for us to improve our practices, we're looking for that as well. And I do want to just say, and I don't know if it was this one or the last one, we talked about transportation. We really do appreciate everyone who has chosen to support us and drive. I think Hope said in the last session that 91 students have been added back onto buses. Now we can't continue to do that. We have to, and it's quite a process, but the practices, the systems that we have gotten in place, I think have been able to streamline a little bit. I do call the car pickup drop off a snake because it snakes around through there, and I don't like snakes, so that's also a negative connotation. But I know that it's gotten to be pretty efficient obviously in the morning it's much quicker than the afternoon, but I think it's within 10 minutes at the Quashnet school, and I think at the other school as well. So, I feel bad if you have to pick up children at both schools, and if there's a way to coordinate with another parent and meet somewhere else and trade off children. But I just really appreciate everybody's patience and respect and gratitude during that experience in particular, because I know initially everybody was, willing to cut us some slack. And as time goes on, I think, you get a little bit more impatient, but we have been very happy and appreciative of everybody's approach to that challenge that came, because everybody has been so helpful and helped us solve a problem in another area, but that always creates a new one. But
I will say, when Mrs. DeBoer sent out her email and said, "Hey, we got extra room on the buses, let us know." And I was like, "Oh my gosh!" But
Well,
it
because I
has
needed to
worked
get
out.
this, I needed to reduce the snake.
And we got we just got a text or a comment saying, "My husband says drop off and pick up is so much better than it was. So great job by all." So woohoo! And that wasn't even my husband who does drop off and pick up who said that. It was someone else's. I'm trying to think. I feel like there was one other thing. Oh, just a reminder too, if you, when it is your child's remote week, or if your child is remote, just a reminder, and it's been in the blog and it's been in the messages from Mrs. DeBoer, but the teachers are teaching the students in front of them and the students at home. They are not able to engage with families during the day while they are teaching on Zoom. So I think, we all know that. It's just a little friendly reminder, because I know sometimes it can feel like, oh, they're right there. Can I just ask them this quick question? And you can't. They cannot do everything. So if you have questions for the teacher, you can either email them and set up a time to talk on the phone, or you can email them with your question, or you could call the office if it's an emergency or something you really, really need, and you could speak to anyone in the office. But you really cannot, and I'm really saying this for the people who are going to watch this video later, you really may not interrupt the class for any reason when the teacher is teaching, and that's got to just be it, because they're already doing 7 jobs, it feels like, the teachers, and they're doing such good work, and we want to make sure that can continue. So
yeah, I think as when your child is in their remote learning, engaged with their classroom, you're sort of a shadow person. You really are not assigned to a desk or assigned to a name in that classroom. You do the best you can to support your students. And I don't know if we talked about it on this Zoom, but if your child has to switch to remote and needs a device for any reason, you just can connect with either Susie or the school itself, and we'll try to arrange for a device to get into your hands. Mainly, I'm thinking 3rd graders who are 100% in person, who may have to shift for whatever reason to several days or more of a remote learning. We want to make sure we get you the tools that you need. And as Susie said before, we don't have a ton of extra Chromebooks, and we're expecting more, but they are good at recreating the newer version of the Mashpee specific Chromebook out of multiple parts. It's definitely a hybrid model.
So if anyone has feedback, thoughts, things they didn't put in the chat because they didn't want to hear it out loud, but things they want us to know, you can email any one of us. You can call, anything. We really do want to hear if you have things that, you have questions about, or things that you think will have you thought about this way, or things your children are coming home saying. We really do want to hear about it. So please, please reach out if you do. I don't know, anything else, group?
Thank you for being here tonight. I appreciate you taking the time, and we hope to hear from you.
Yes.
All right.
The one good thing about these Zoom meetings, though, is, you don't have to go park your car and walk into the gymnasium at the Quashnet school, and it's a lot easier to have some communication going.
And none of my dogs barked while we were doing it. I can't believe it. All right. Good night,
and
everyone.
I can join
Thank
while
you.
I'm at work too.
Say again?
Say,
I
Cliff?
can join while I'm at work.
Oh, that's even better. Awesome.
Yes, that's
Fantastic.
good.
All right. I'm going to stop the recording and say thank you all so much.